Well, I think there was something that I would think to myself, and I had a mantra I would say to myself every day that I would wake up pregnant. And I would say, today I am pregnant, and for that I'm grateful. And I would say that every single day. It sounds kind of like silly, but it was something I had to say to myself to allow myself to just enjoy the moment.
All right, this is part 2 of my interview with Dr. Ashurina Ream. If you missed part 1, I highly recommend you go back and watch that one first. The link is in the description below. Dr. Ashurina is a licensed psychologist and certified perinatal mental health care provider. Today, she's going to dive deeper into explaining the effects of high-risk pregnancy and talking about her transition into motherhood. On to the interview.
Was the rest of the pregnancy after that pretty normal?
They told me to take it easy, and I actually had to stay off of work for quite some time. So I was basically didn't get to do much until my 3rd trimester. I really wasn't allowed to lift anything, walk for long periods of time until I was 28 weeks. So it was a very boring sitting around. I was monitored really, really closely. So I was at the doctor very often, and into my last trimester, I was there. I'm trying to think if it was twice a week. It was twice a week, every week. But I would get ultrasounds very, very, very regularly. And they called me the frequent flyer. Because they just wanted to be sure everything was okay and everything was developing normally, and this nothing else was going to come about. So they just really monitored me really closely. And to be honest, it was something that I feel helped alleviate my anxiety a bit, because in a sense it was I was going for a date with my son and I was going to get to see him, and it felt good when I would leave those appointments just to know okay, everything is on track. So they kind of gave me, I was on bed rest for a while, and then I had some restrictions, and then they just monitored me really, really closely.
What would you say this experience overall has taught you, or what have you learned from it?
There are a couple of things that I think I've taken away from all of it. And I think the first part is you can plan as much as you want for anything in life, not just your fertility, but you can plan as much as you want in life. There will always be circumstances and situations that go in a different direction. And it taught me that I can't control everything. I was a person that was not a control freak, but I liked things to go a particular way. And having a sense, a need for control, and having issues with your fertility, it's a fast, clear way to self-destruction, because they just don't mesh. They don't go well. So I think sometimes knowing that things don't always go as we plan. We can plan for decades and they still won't go that way. So sometimes it's okay to just say I'm going to, I guess, go along for the ride and just be present for what happens.
Especially, surrounding birth, everyone wants to, plan everything to the day, to the month, what have you. And it's something I keep hearing too from everyone. So what would you say to a mom watching that maybe went through a similar experience?
Well, I think there was something that I would think to myself, and I had a mantra I would say to myself every day that I would wake up pregnant. And I would say, today I am pregnant, and for that I'm grateful. And I would say that every single day. It sounds kind of silly, but it was something I had to say to myself to allow myself to just enjoy the moment. So I think if you're going through a high risk pregnancy, that's come up with a mantra that you can tell yourself, that you feel I just need to hear, what is the message I need to hear today? And that was something I needed to hear, because I had to remind myself that there was a baby growing inside of me, and I needed to just be present. And I think if you're in the midst of loss, or you're struggling with fertility, the one thing I would tell myself even back then was that it's okay to take a break. I was on this pursuit for creating a family, and I was just pushing and pushing and pushing. And I think that sometimes it's okay to say, you know what, I can't do this right now. I need to take a little bit of a break. And that's okay. Give yourself the space and the time that you need. It's really important.
Well, thank you for, sharing that.
Thank you.
I know that was a very difficult story to share, but I think it's so important to share these stories. I think you're going to inspire other people to share their stories and talk about it. So I have a couple questions I like to ask that are kind of fun thinking questions, because then it kind of adds a spin on, people's perspective and everything.
Yeah.
So if you could have a billboard made today where you could share one tip with moms everywhere, what would you have it say?
This is my favorite thing to tell, especially moms in therapy, is treat yourself like you want to treat your kids or how you want other people to treat your kids.
Mm-hmm.
We can be so negative and harsh to ourselves. So I say, like, if you expect that people would treat your child with respect, that they would love on them, that they would be encouraging, do the same thing for yourself, because you're deserving of that. So treat yourself like you would want somebody else to treat your kid, or you want to treat your kid.
If you could go back in time and give yourself a piece of advice to when you first became a mom, what would you tell yourself?
I would tell myself that it's okay to change my mind. Sometimes I get so like fixated and rigid in my path of thinking of like, I have to do this. And there's like such an expectation that it is only harmful and detrimental to me. So I think the biggest thing, and is it's okay. If it doesn't go that way and I need to change my mind or shift my planning, we will all survive and it'll be just okay.
What is a quote that you live by or think of often? It could be in regards to parenting, relationships, life in general.
I don't know that this is like, it's not a quote. It's something that like, I am telling you, like I live by mantras. Mm-hmm. And like there are things that I say to myself, and it's like my own therapy. The one thing I think is really important is that imperfection is important. Mm-hmm. And I say that because moms, and it's not just moms, but I think that there's like a big part of this is with moms, that we put so much pressure on ourselves. It's not just from us, but it's from the outside world. And we want to like be this perfect example of so many things for our kiddos. And I think that imperfection is important because our kids need to learn about failure. They need to learn about mistakes. They need to learn about how we fix things and problem solve. So that's something I live by, that imperfection is important. So even in those moments where I feel like I'm struggling and things are a mess, they are a lesson. And that is really important.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love that. Where can everyone follow you on social, and what kind of like posts and information do you offer on your social?
Yeah, I am Psyched Mommy. I thought that was clever when I created it. It's because I'm a psychologist and I'm a mom, and the information I post is like real life mom info. And it's like a way of life that I think that I want to educate and normalize the difficulty of motherhood. I want to educate about perinatal mental health. I want to empower, encourage, and inspire moms to kind of like be able to transition into motherhood and thrive instead of feeling so defeated. And I think that's the goal of why I created my Instagram. So that's my social media handle. And then my website is also psychedmommy.com.
Thanks for watching. As you can see, it is not only important to take care of yourself during pregnancy, but after your baby comes as well. Be sure to follow Dr. Ashurina Ream. All of her info is below. Dr. Ashurina offers amazing tips and courses for moms at every stage, and I highly recommend you check it out. And I really want to thank Dr. Ashurina for coming on and being super vulnerable with us and sharing her story. And I hope that if you're watching, that it helps you along in your journey.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Mom Talks with Krista. If you're not yet subscribed, go ahead and click on the subscribe button. It should be down here somewhere. We release new episodes every single Wednesday. And if you're not following us yet, be sure to follow us at Mommy Knows Best on Instagram. And remember, if you're watching this and doubting yourself, you are a great mom. So thanks so much for watching, and we will see you next week.